Also, I think it kind of relates to like what's happening in the US right now if we try hard enough. Hi guys, my name is Grace. I'm back with another video. Today, it's another research essay. Something just came to mind and I thought it would be cool to talk about. Today I'm going to be talking about the song Bella Ciao. You may have seen Bella Ciao used in TikToks. Or you may know it from the popular Netflix series Money Heist. A lot of people have been using this song in their videos, making dubstep remixes, just kind of using it without really knowing what it means, like literally what the lyrics mean in English or their language, and without knowing the origins and the importance of the song. So I thought that'd be interesting to talk about. Obviously, Bella Ciao is in Italian. It means goodbye beautiful, or like farewell my love, like that sort of thing. It's a very catchy song that people can hum along to, even if they don't necessarily speak Italian or if they don't know the words. But I have seen some people, Italian people, getting upset at the use of the song because it is an important song to Italian culture and history. So I have actually studied Italian language and in turn Italian culture for about 6 years now. I've studied it through middle school, through high school, and a year in college. So I actually learned about this song this past year in college, so I knew about the song long before it became a trend. So like that should kind of give you a little bit of a clue of what this song is if in Italian culture courses they're teaching you about this song and its history. Alright, so in this video I'll be using a little bit of what I learned in school, like some of my coursework and what I learned there, and some research I did online to talk about Bella Ciao. I've broken this video into parts again to make it a little easier to digest and understand. Alright, so part 1. Bella Ciao's origin. While it's not known exactly where Bella Ciao originated, it's thought that the melody of Bella Ciao is either Slavic or Yiddish, and that the lyrics were put to an already existing Slavic or Yiddish melody. It is speculated that a version of Bella Ciao was sung by Italian field workers pre-World War II, but that the lyrics were changed and adapted for the World War II era where it became so important. Bella Ciao became a song representing the partisans of fighting for liberty, fighting for freedom, and fighting oppression. Part 2. Bella Ciao's lyrics, with the English translation. Alright, so now I'm going to play the song, the originale version that I found on YouTube, and have the Italian lyrics and the English lyrics on screen. I'm using the audio from the video Bella Ciao Originale by Battle for Telenuovo on YouTube. Hi, this is Editing Grace. This is going to happen a few times in this video, I'm sorry, but because of copyright on YouTube, I have to split up the song into sections, so I'll be taking it in about 15-second sections after each verse and talking about the meaning of the verse, and that should negate copyright.
Stamattina mi sono alzato, oh bella ciao, 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 ciao. Stamattina mi sono alzato e ho trovato l'invaso.
The lyrics detail the point of view of a man who was willing to die as a partisan, fighting the enemy or the invader, as they call it.
Oh partigiano, portami via, oh bella ciao, 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 ciao. Partigiano, portami via. He
talks about wanting to leave where he lives with the partisans, and if he dies with them.
E se io muoio da partigiano, oh bella ciao, 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 ciao. E se muoio da partigiano, tu mi devi seppellire.
And if he dies with them, he wants to be buried in the mountains, probably referring to the beautiful and characteristic mountainous terrain of Italy.
E seppellire lassù in montagna, oh bella ciao, 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 ciao. Seppellire lassù in montagna, sotto l'ombra di un bel fior.
He wants to be buried in the mountains, probably referring to the beautiful and characteristic mountainous terrain of Italy.
Tutte le genti che passeranno, oh bella ciao, 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 ciao. E le genti che passeranno ti diranno che bel fior.
He also says that he wants to turn into flowers after he is buried in the mountains.
E questo è il fiore del partigiano, oh bella ciao, 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 ciao. Questo è il fiore del partigiano, morto per la libertà.
He also says that he wants to turn into flowers after he is buried in the mountains, and that he wants people who are passing by to look at them and say, those are the flowers of the partisans.
Questo è il fiore del partigiano, morto per la libertà. Questo è il fiore del partigiano, morto per la libertà.
Okay, so obviously a catchy song, like I said, easy to hum along to, easy to sing along to, but as we can see, the lyrics are a little bit darker. He's probably referring to papaveri rossi, or red poppies, as they are called in other Italian war songs like La Guerra di Piero, or in English, Piero's War, by Fabrizio De Andrea. Here that is.
Dormi sepolto in un campo di grano, non è la rosa, non è il tulipano che ti fan veglia dall'ombra dei fossi, ma sono 1000 papaveri rossi.
Red poppies are the flowers that are most often used for World War II remembrance days and remembrance events in Europe, and we can especially see that in England. They wear little red poppy pins, and I think the month of November. Okay, so I kind of went on a little tangent about like the entirety of the song, but the important word is the word partisan, so let's talk about what a partisan is and why it is so important to Italian history. Part 3. Italian Unification, Benito Mussolini, and Italy's partisans. Without turning this into like a history essay with just facts about war and birthplaces and cities and stuff like that, I'll explain a little bit of the history of Italy just because it's kind of important to like see what's happening at this time period. So Italy was not a unified country until 1861. Prior to 1861, it was city-states or territories that were governed by separate rulers, Italian rulers, or under foreign power. So when World War I came rolling around, around 50 years after Italy had become a unified nation, that's not a very long time to be a recognized sovereign state in the world. They were still a pretty young and underdeveloped country. Because of Italy's lack of funding, they suffered a lot of casualties during World War I. So after World War I, they were facing an economic crisis, extremely high unemployment rates, and a lot of political instability, kind of akin to the state of Germany post-World War I. And, that's kind of how Hitler rose to power, and a similar thing can be said about Benito Mussolini. Italy had also laid claim to land around their northernmost border, but once treaties were drawn up after World War I, other foreign powers claimed them and barred Italy from taking them, so that angered a lot of Italian nationalists. When the war was over, World War I veteran and ex-socialist Benito Mussolini took advantage of the Italian people's hardships. He officially formed the fascist party, Fasci di Combattimento, in 1919, and appealed to the lower and middle-class Italians and the nationalistic Italians with his socialistic ideals. Mussolini became the leader of Italy at the end of 1922, when the former leader handed him power during a coup. So basically, the fascist party marched into the capital of Italy, and there was a coup. Basically, they took over. He became prime minister in 1922 and then became the dictator of Italy in 1925. Mussolini instated a fascist regime, removing all checks and balances on his power, so he had supreme power in Italy. He became Italy's fascist dictator. I'll give the dictionary definition of fascism for anyone who's wondering. The Merriam-Webster dictionary says fascism is a political philosophy, movement, or regime, such as that of the fascisti, that exalts nation and often race above the individual and that stands for the centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, severe economic and social regimentation, and forcible suppression of opposition. As we all know, when World War II came about, Mussolini aligned himself and Italy with the Axis powers of Japan and Germany, who were persecuting and murdering most famously the Jewish peoples, but also communist, travelers, aka gypsies, but that's an outdated and oppressive term, homosexuals, opposers of fascism, and many other peoples. So now that we have an idea of what was happening in Italy and to the Italian people at the time, let's talk about what the word partisan means and why it was mentioned so much in Bella Ciao. The definition of the word partisan literally just simply means the member of a party. But in Italy, partisans, or partigiani, are the opposers of fascism. As I stated, the fascist regime during World War II was persecuting many groups of people who did not align with their political ideas or quote-unquote perfect race of humans. Also, German soldiers, the Gestapo, began to occupy Italy during the war. The Italian people were outraged. Again, without making this an in-depth history essay, alright, it's editing Grace again, and I'm about to insert some of the most badass photos I have ever seen in my entire life of young men and women in Italy fighting in the resistance against the fascists. Like, the fact that there are both men and women being armed and that they're equal is such a cool idea, and, just the fact that these young people had the guts and the bravery to go out there and basically go up against trained soldiers to fight against injustice. It's just incredible. Partisans armed themselves, created organizations, and fought directly against Germany's occupation of Italy and against Benito Mussolini's fascist regime. There are many stories, such as the 4 Days of Naples, of civilians revolting violently, fighting against German soldiers who occupied their towns and rebelling to liberate Italy from their fascist dictator. Also, at this point, Benito Mussolini had been in power for around 20 years, so the Italians were pretty tired of him. The partisans formed militias to combat soldiers, marched on cities, had underground rebellions, etc. Italian partisans often faced violent and public executions for their rebellion and could be taken away by fascist soldiers for their torture and imprisonment. After long years of revolt, Italian partisans were able to march on Mussolini in the waning hours of World War II as it was coming to an end. They eventually captured him as he tried to escape the Italian people secretly. They executed him and hung his and other fascist leaders' bodies upside down in La Piazza in Milan, showing the Italian people that the era of Mussolini's fascism was over. And they hung him there for, I forget exactly how long, but they left him there for a while so that people could see Mussolini was not in power anymore and that his ideas would not be accepted in Italy. Since 1949, April 25th has been Italy's official Liberation Day, and it's still celebrated to this day by a lot of people. The holiday is meant to celebrate the partisans and the resistance of the Italian people and their revolt against fascism in their home country. Part 4. Bella Ciao, Then and Now. It is obvious that the lyrics of Bella Ciao are a sentiment of World War II era Italy, where partisans fought to liberate their country from the tight fist of oppressive fascism. But the song lives on in Italian culture to this day. Bella Ciao has remained an important trademark of Italian history and culture, and many artists have covered it over the long years since the war. The song represents hope and the strength of the Italian people as they live through hardship. It is still sung on many meaningful occasions to communicate solidarity, strength, and liberty. Here are just a few examples of those occasions. In 2015, a satirical journalist from France named Charlie Hebdo sang Bella Ciao at the funeral of his friend who died in a Paris terrorist attack.
Una mattina mi son svegliato. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao Marina. Mi son svegliato e ho trovato l'invasore. Oh partigiano, portami via. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Oh partigiano, portami via, che mi sento di morire. E se io muoio da partigiano, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. E se io muoio da partigiano, che mi deve seppellire e seppellire lassù in montagna. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. E seppellire lassù in montagna sotto l'ombra del bel fior. Tutta la gente che passerà, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Tutta la gente che passerà mi dirà, oh che bel fior. E questo è il fiore del partigiano. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. E questo è il fiore del partigiano morto per la libertà. La 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 la, la 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 la. La 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 la, la 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 la. Morto per la libertà, morto per la libertà, morto per la libertà.
In 2020, Italy was ravaged by the COVID-19 coronavirus. It was one of the worst hit countries in the entire world, with extremely strict quarantine measures being put in place after a large number of people died in a very short amount of time. Here is a compilation of clips of people singing Bella Ciao out their windows during quarantine during Italy's time of crisis.
la gente che passerà. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, 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 e la gente che passerà dirà oh che bel fiore, e questo è il fiore del partigiano. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, 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 e questo è il fiore del partigiano. Molto bella vita.
The last clip in that compilation made my heart clench, of the old woman on her roof singing and clapping along to Bella Ciao, and she grabs the Italian flag and looks at it sadly. That just made me feel something. In November 2019, 7,000 Italians gathered to protest Matteo Salvini, the leader of Lega, a far-right, xenophobic, racist, nationalist, and homophobic political party whose ideas align scarily with those of Mussolini's fascist party. In this clip, we see Italian protesters singing Bella Ciao word for word while protesting in the rain. I don't know about you guys, but when I saw that clip of those protesters singing, it literally gave me chills and like made tears come to my eyes. It was extremely powerful and haunting. Alright, so it's obvious that Bella Ciao is extremely important to Italian culture and history, seeing as I, an American, am learning about it in my Italian courses all the way on the other side of the world, and that people sing it after terrorist attacks, to protest, and even just when they need support and want to show their solidarity with Italy and show that they, as Italians, can get through this because they've gotten through much like this before. Not only is Bella Ciao a symbol of the time it originated from, World War II era Italy, but it is also a gesture used by many people to this date to represent fighting for the freedom and liberty of the people during times of hardship. So that brings up the question, is it okay to use Bella Ciao in TikTok challenges and to remix it into dubstep songs and to use it in memes? Outro time. That wasn't really a good segue, but I just want to say I don't really want to get too involved in the opinions aspect of this. I'm Italian by blood, but I'm not Italian born, so I don't really have any personal experience to base this on. But I know this term gets thrown around a lot, but I think this situation definitely crosses into like cultural appropriation territory, where someone's culture is being taken and just kind of used willy-nilly without really any acknowledgement of how important it is. And it definitely exemplifies ignorance. So what do you guys think of all of this? Like, as soon as I had to study this song in my Italian course, I automatically adored it. I thought it was a really catchy song. I thought it had a beautiful meaning and that the lyrics were chilling and haunting and just the history behind it and the fight that regular people have in them when they see something not right happening, and that the power that the people can have. Also, I think it kind of relates to like what's happening in the US right now if we try hard enough. But yeah, like, what do you guys think? I understand not everybody is going to know the history behind it, and like I said, it kind of leans on the ignorant side of things. Not everybody speaks Italian, not everybody knows about Italian history. So, I don't really know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I love to have conversations with you guys about these sort of like important things. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.